Hello and welcome to another episode of Changemaker Supermom Stories. I'm your host Sarita Shetty, and through this space we bring you conversations with women who are quietly creating impact in their homes, in their work, and in the way they touch the lives through their everyday activity. Today, I'm really happy to introduce you our supermom for this month, Gitu Valecha. Gitu is a storyteller and a facilitator, bringing stories to life for our little young minds. She works with young children using stories, movement, and interaction, making story time not just fun but a powerful way to build language, confidence, and connection. Her intention is simple: to help children learn, express, and grow through stories. This is so wonderful, Gitu. And what I really love is how she keeps that childlike curiosity and even within herself. Gitu enjoys sharing stories, painting, traveling, exploring new things, and constantly learning and growing. Beautiful. So, welcome, Gitu. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Sarita. I'm also excited and thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to share how simple storytelling can, make a difference in a child's life. So,
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Our privilege, Gitu. So let's dive straight into the questions, Gitu.
Yeah.
To begin with, Gitu, please share with us what inspired you to start storytelling sessions for little young children.
So this goes way back to 2015, and somehow, like even in my childhood, I would love narrating stories. I would love recording. Earlier we had those radios which we could record with a double thing. So I would love recording stories and songs, and I would love listening to it. And in the neighborhood also we had a lot of children. So I would always like to facilitate, which we use today that word. So but otherwise I would love to be like a teacher. So when this came up, I actually saw this this founder of Little Readers Nook, Devki. She was looking for storytellers in different areas, and when I just read it up on one of the social media sites, I got in touch with that lady and I asked her, give me more information. And then I got in touch with Devki, and when I read that, I felt some sort of a connect in me. Probably I remembered my childhood, and I said, and something in me told me, okay, I think this is something you will enjoy. And so that's how it started. And I always thought children, their first doorway to learning is, I think, through stories. And it just clicked, everything worked, the training happened, and I started in 2015. But luckily at that time my niece was just the right age, and she was in a play school with daycare. So that's where I started my first batch, because it was easy to go and get in touch with the principal there. And so here I am, one story at a time, enjoying it, sharing it. And I love spending time with kids. So I think, and it's been like more than a decade, like I said. So I think
Wow.
It's something I love doing.
Beautifully put, Gitu. A decade, huh?
Yeah.
Amazing. And Gitu, coming back to, as you said, stories are the first doorways for children to learn something. So why do you feel storytelling is so important in early childhood?
So I feel children learn through experiences. You can read out stories to them, but I feel, and like our way of, or rather, like when I started off, our way or my way of doing it was not just, reading out a story. It was a very interactive, it is a very interactive session where, you make the child move, interact with them, you make them, probably play with props, work out, of course, focus on vocabulary. And so I think even like there are people who sometimes parents who ask, moms who ask, what is a good age? But now, like as they say, while they are in, while you're carrying, I think that should be started off. But it's just an experience, I feel, because doing it together, even the kids, they develop their social skills. So doing at home is also very good, but at the same time, I feel when they're together, they look at each other, they want to take part, they want to participate. So I think experience is something which they learn from rather than just sitting still and just listening.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel it is very important in early. And plus, you have like basically develops your early literacy skills like your listening, your vocab, and creativity, imagination. And you don't realize now, but I think later in life it will help them in their problem solving also. So that's what I feel it is like really important for kids to go through these experience through stories, and that's a fun way of learning. So it's not that methodical way you're teaching them something, and every time storytelling is different, right? It'll never be the same. Even if I'm repeating the same stories,
Yes.
It's like how you do it every time, and I know it's an experience is what I feel.
Every time it's a fresh point of view or an angle or a lesson.
Yes. And I should tell you, I also get to learn a lot from children, because children who interact, they just come up with so many things, and I also tell them, oh, I learned this from you, so it's like a two-way. I feel like children, and at that age children are like they're like so full of love, and
they are very innocent.
Yeah, so so that I think
yes, so
that's where it is. Yeah.
And the phrase that you use, that they should indulge in the experience rather than sitting still and learning, that is very well said, and it is so true actually.
Yeah.
So Gitu, also tell me, many parents read books to children.
Yeah.
Parents do read, but how is storytelling, that is without books, you enact and narrate the story, is different from reading a book aloud? Can you throw light on that?
So I feel read aloud, you focus mostly on the text, but in storytelling, like I said, you have interactive sessions, and then at that time, the what the child says, maybe you take it in a different direction. It has movement, you have voice modulation, and you have props, you enact it, you just have fun and go with the flow of the child. But I feel read aloud is also very good. Like I tell parents, a lot of parents say we have this bedtime story routine every day, which is very good. That has to be there for the children, because with me they are like once a week. But this is more experiential, right? Storytelling is like when we are doing it is more experiential. Like I said, focusing on new vocab words from the story, doing a worksheet, follow up of the story, which stays with them. So they say doing is something which they remember rather than just listening. And so I feel like like I said, like in a group, when they when they are doing it in a group, I think it's more fun. Even if a child is quiet, looking at the other child, the child feels like opening up. So there's like so many positive outcomes of it. So I feel like storytelling is, I think, a must for all the children to do. Like, of course, if the parent can enact, do the voice modulation, very great, very good. But I feel doing it as a group also has its own positive outcomes.
So when you're sharing this, I can very well imagine if I was a child in your class, it would be so interesting with such a facilitator, storyteller.
Yeah, thank you, Sarita. Yeah, so I mean, it's the expressions also what matter. And then actually, sometimes the children also, like when I'm talking to them and this thing, and they're like so amazed, or looking at the pictures, they want to say something. So it's like beautiful. The journey is so beautiful. Yeah.
I can very well imagine. So coming back to your work with the very young children, Gitu, so how do you keep the toddlers engaged during the sessions, especially the toddlers?
Yeah. So see, first of all, when a parent inquires about the session and they say my child loves books, and and if they're slightly younger, because I start at 2+, right? So they say, no, my child loves books, and so I always tell them, if you know your child best, because you are the parent, if you think it's the right time, you can come. But only thing, if your child doesn't sit still, or if you feel like your child is not sitting in one place or listening to me, be ready for that, because you can't expect that child to be sitting there for 45 minutes and just listening to me. Even when they move, they are hearing. So when something comes up, they are just like they answer out of the blue. You don't even expect it.
Correct.
And sometimes I feel like, just giving them props, diverting them, making them act. And children love animal stories. So with animal stories, you can make them do all the sounds, ask them their favorite animals, and you can do so much to just distract them and then just bring back that attention. So I mean, over a period of years, I have like learned like so much, so, but I tell the parent ki, you shouldn't think you enrolled for the class, my child is not listening. Every child is different. There are children who from the first session itself, love to just sit and listen and are curious. But there are some children who are moving around, let them do it because they are listening. Even if they grasp 10-15% also is something, they've achieved. So just go through with the flow, don't expect too much out of your child. And especially in the few sessions in the beginning, as we go on, as they've experienced more sessions, I think they settle down.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Gitu, when you're mentioning about storytelling, can you, for our audience who are watching, the mothers, can you name your 3 favorites when you want to tell us a story, so that the mothers also know about, are aware about, for their toddlers especially?
Sorry, what did you say?
Storytelling as a story, as a narration. Fun stories that you like to narrate to children. Would you share these 3 stories?
Okay. So see, Julia Donaldson are the favorite books of most of the children. But I think for a new child who is just getting into storytelling, most of the children have those books. But I love this bear hunt. I'm going on a bear hunt story because it is, with the props you can use, the movement you can do, that's a beautiful story I like. And then I like, so I recently did this 10 apples up on top, or Dr. Seuss books. I love that also because then you can do, a lot of activities revolving around the story. And the third book I can think of is, I love Smiley Shark also. So right now I can, think of these 3 books. But of course, like I said, they are like umpteen number of books and
yes.
Yeah. So, you can just go on and on and on. And I think there's never an end to storytelling because each book teaches you, or not even like with your fun learning, you're learning like so much through stories. So I think I feel there's never an end. Even if you repeat the stories, like we discussed earlier, you learn something new each time.
Yes, you learn something new each time.
Yeah.
Stories, even if it is repeated. That is so beautifully put.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gitu, for that. And Gitu, can you share one memorable moment from your storytelling journey?
My memorable moment. What I can remember, these kids are now in the 9th standard. Okay, there were these twins who were with me for a very long time, right from their nursery, and they were there with me even for till about last year, just to help them with a little creative writing. But of course, coming back to the story and the young minds, so there used to be like the parent telling me, like the day I used to go and have their sessions for that group, I used to do it at their home only. They were a set of twins, and that mom would say, they would get up every morning and ask, when is it Friday today? Because I still remember the day also. Is it Friday today? Is Gitu, auntie, miss, whatever, everybody calls me what, is she coming today? So they would look forward, wait. So, that gives you so much joy. The kids are waiting for you. And one recent incident is like, I had taken a break for a short time because of a wedding in the family. And I had posted on the group that we will not have class and we'll resume. But probably the parent missed the message and the child came with a nanny, and my daughter calls me, Mom, do you have class? I said, no, I put it up on the chat. We don't have class. Saying, no, but he's asking me, where is Gitu auntie? Where is Gitu auntie? And she said, at the end of it, there were some flowers at home. I had to just give him a flower or two and tell him, Gitu auntie's left this for you, but she'll see you next time. She's not there at home today, So, those small little pleasure, it's like the love the kids shower upon you is another, you can't just express it.
Yes.
So, those are few of my memories. And then suddenly, the parents say, I have done vocab with them. And there are words which you won't imagine they'll use it so soon. And then suddenly, out of the blue, when they're traveling, they come up and they say, Mom, they use that vocab for maybe in the conversation, and then she said, "Oh wow, we were surprised." And some parents say we are also learning so much vocab from
Yeah,
you, from the
vocabulary.
children. Yeah, vocabulary. Yeah. So all these things. At least it touches me. It makes you feel so happy that you're doing the right thing, sharing stories, and
absolutely.
yeah,
You are, when they say, when you share the stories, I can very well imagine who you are from then, how you are being, because children are the real honest people, the children, little ones.
Yes.
They don't tell, and when somebody, they feel like the genuine, energy coming, and
yes.
want to.
So there are times. So there are times like you won't believe, like they, like I told you, they'll say Gitu Miss, they'll say Gitu Aunty, and sometimes like when they're so engrossed, Mama. Then the other child says, Mama, you're saying. I said, it's okay. You're like comfortable saying anything, because they're
so comfortable.
I feel that, they are so comfortable, the comfort level. So I'm like, okay with them calling me anything, like, so, that's something which, like I said, you can't express it, like, because you said they're honest, and, it's pure love, and whatever they say is just, just comes out from their heart. So they're not like thinking or judging or doing anything of that.
Not the act out there. It is just clean, so innocent.
Yeah.
So Gitu, so you take storytelling classes. Where all you take storytelling classes, and do you do online and physical?
Yeah. So see, basically, right now, because of the time constraint, also, because we have only the post afternoon or post evening slots where you get like 2-3 hours maximum, and depending on the child's school. So right now I'm doing between like Juhu, Lokhandwala, and in Juhu I also operate from Jamnabai once a week, and in Lokhandwala there's a Montessori, Prodigy Montessori, where I work from. That's again because the classes are once a week, so that's the Lokhandwala center, and then I also have like private batches at home.
Yes.
And so right now it's more of offline, but of course COVID time we had done a lot of online, like I had done a lot of online, and I'm open to online because Bombay or in and around this area people can come, but sometimes it gets difficult for people to travel with the commute time and the traffic and all that. So I'm open to online. Once in a way that does happen, but it's mostly then sometimes one-on-one. They do say, I got your number from my sister-in-law or something, I would like you to do. So then we have a short 45-minute session because it's just one child. But but of course it's more offline than online, but it's more. And then I start sessions like from the age group of 2+, which is like a parent toddler. Then it goes up to, where the children are independent. And then sometimes, parents just want to continue. So we just continue with chapter books or, So this reminds me, like, as I'm talking to you, so there are another set of twins, too many twins I've had in my sessions who've been coming, like, this is like at home in Juhu itself there. So they've also been coming to me from nursery, and now they've gone to the 3rd standard. But the mom tells me, you are therapy for them. They don't want to stop your sessions. So, so then now because of the age, then we just pick up books. Then I tell them, you pick up the book you like, or, some chapter book, and then listen. So then we ask questions to each other, and basically reading is also about comprehending, right? Because you can't just read and not know what you're reading. So all these put together, great to have sessions.
Amazing, Gitu. And viewers who want to connect to Gitu, of course I'll be putting a Instagram handle below this post, wherever I'm posting this, whether it's YouTube or Instagram. Please get in touch with her, message her, and she'll get back to you definitely.
Thank you, Sarita.
My pleasure, Gitu. And coming back to our questions, Gitu, so one very common concern that parents have, Gitu, is my child doesn't sit still. What would you like to tell them all? I know you covered a part of it in that discussion we had earlier, but can you focus on this particular thing?
So what I feel is it's absolutely normal for the kid not to sit still. I think as adults, even we lose attention, right? So it's absolutely normal. It doesn't have to be the child has to sit to do the sessions. It's okay if he's moving around, because you can just introduce the toddler, like I said, make him enact, to bring him back into the story, or ask him questions what he would love. Like I said, animal stories, if it's an animal story, talk about that. And storytelling doesn't have to be quiet, right? Because it has to be interactive. There have to be movements. There has to be, noise, voice modulation, activities. So you can do so much to make them do. It's not like I'm having like a 45-minute read aloud session where, the child is not sitting still and he's not learning anything. It's a combination of everything. The story goes on for maybe like 15 minutes for this age group. And then I have other extended activities with it. So it's not like story time is not like, it doesn't have to be quiet, right? To be effective. It can be like active and joyful. So that's what I feel like, parents who feel they're not sitting still. So, I think he's not enjoying it. I think it's a wrong notion. Just let them, like I said, over a few sessions, you see a difference in the child. Yeah. So I think, it doesn't have to be quiet, like I said.
Yeah.
It can be active and joyful too.
It is all about making it not focusing on that child is whether the child is sitting still or not. It is as long as you make it active, experiential, and joyful. The fun part is also very important, right, Gitu?
Yes. And like I said, stories are to be experienced. Yes. If they have to sit still and just, listen to me one way, I think, that learning doesn't happen. Yes. When they're doing all this, we're doing certain activities, you're having an interaction, I think the child retains it, is what I feel. Yeah.
More of kinesthetic learning, like that.
Yes. Yeah.
All the senses are involved.
Yeah.
Great. And so, Gitu, for parents who are watching this, what is the one simple tip they can start using at home when it comes to storytelling?
Yeah, so every parent should have a routine of doing storytelling at least for 5-10 minutes, so that, like I said, it's a stepping stone for the child's learning, a doorway. And I think, that ritual makes the child fall in love with books and have one small action, like, maybe voice modulation, just to, have fun, do something funny, or some movement, or, some interaction. Even one small step is good enough to, take that step forward and, make your read aloud or your story time fun. I'm sure there must be a lot of parents who are, doing all this. But like for those who feel like, oh, my child doesn't sit even when I'm doing it, I think just taking up short stories, just doing it with them even for 5 minutes. Of course, picture books help because then you can talk so much about it. But at least having some sort of a moment, or add a song to it, or, enact it, anything fun. So that one step, I think, will make a big difference.
Great, Gitu. Amazing, Gitu. So, is it okay if I ask you to share what better way to tell the parents, show the parents a demonstration of your act of storytelling? Would you please do that?
Yeah. So right now, immediately what comes to my mind is, Sarita, yesterday I did for a batch, I did a mouse story. So, before I started the story, because it was about the mouse, I just thought, let me, sing a song, with them and have some moment before I actually get into the story. So that is what I can remember immediately. So I think I'll do that. Under the tree, behind the house, lived a little teeny weeny mouse. She loved to sing. She loved to tap. And most of all, she loved to clap. She clapped all day. She clapped all night. She clapped to frighten the cat away.
Wow.
So I just did this. I made them repeat it a couple of times. Just the rhythm, the clapping, and whatever they can remember. And then I said, okay, now let's get on to the story. And so sometimes, like, I introduce, like, start off with a song. Sometimes, whatever. Like, so this is what, just came to my mind immediately.
Yes.
And
thank you for this treat, Gitu. On that note, thank you so much, Gitu. This was a wonderful and a beautiful conversation with you. And I'm sure many parents who are watching this will take something valuable from it. So, Gitu, before we close, what is the one message you would like to share with all the parents who are watching this today? What is the one message if you want to give them?
So one thing I would like all the parents watching, keep the stories alive in your children. In fact, you also keep the inner child alive in you so that you can enact those stories, read out the stories. So, that's the best way to
Yes.
do storytelling with your children or read alouds with your children, because both of you will enjoy it.
Beautiful message, Gitu. So parents, keep the stories alive and keep your inner child alive. And we end this with such a beautiful note to the parents, Gitu. Thank you once again for being here and for the privilege of your time, Gitu.
Thank you so much, Sarita, for having me. And I'm so happy sharing, about stories, something what I love to do. And so that's now, like I said, one story at a time, happening from the last decade. So thank you so much.
And keep spreading your magic, Gitu, one story at a time and touching so many lives. And thank you once again.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who's watching. And if this conversation resonated with you, do share it with someone who would benefit from it. Let's bring more stories, more connection, and more joy into our children's lives. I will see you in the next month with our next episode with another super mom. Until then, take care and God bless.